presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game. Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, a joy to be with them each and every day, and I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Women's basketball in action tonight. It is a big one at Matthew Knight Arena. I look forward to a big-time environment at MKA. I'll tell you, the Ducks have played a lot of really good teams of late, particularly at home. And now talking about a matchup between two teams that are inside the top 25 in the net. Minnesota comes to town for the Ducks. It's game day, 6 o'clock at Matthew Knight Arena. It's on Big Plus. And, of course, Chris Clayton and Bev Smith will have the call starting at 5:30 across the Oregon Sports Network. Oregon and Minnesota. This is a big opportunity for the Ducks after dropping a double overtime heartbreaker on Sunday to Wisconsin in Madison. They then traveled home. Get ready for Minnesota. It doesn't get much easier. Again, a top 25 team in the net. Top 15 in some metrics, Minnesota. Doesn't get much easier around the Big Ten Conference as the season continues. But a big one for Oregon women's basketball after their, look, I think just going through a tough stretch of their schedule. There's no other way to put it. Kelly Graves talking with Chris Clayton, that's coming up. And then also as we continue our Toyota Coaches Show series of interviews, Estera Tuhina talking with Chris Clayton. Great interview coming your way. We'll also tell you a little bit more about the celebration of National Girls and Women in Sports Day. And we will dive into men's basketball last night. Some good, some not so good. There's no such thing as moral victories in sports, particularly for a program like Oregon's and a program like what Dana Altman has commanded over the last 16 years here at the University of Oregon. However, I think it's fair to recalibrate the expectation for the season. And Tom Izzo, a legendary head coach in his own right, we got to see two Hall of Fame head coaches courtside at Matthew Knight Arena coaching against each other last night. I think it's safe to say that if Tom Izzo feels a way about Oregon's season, y'all should listen to that. And we'll play that for you coming up, breaking down a little bit of men's basketball. Women's basketball tonight, though, I'll tell you about some of the notes. And it's not just the net rankings that matter in a game like this. I think it's also the trajectory of the season, because Penn State coming to town on Saturday, that's a game that Oregon would like to win before a tough road trip. Not necessarily just because of the opponents. Maryland, also a top 25 net team right now. That's on the horizon for the Ducks. But a long road trip to Rutgers starting next Wednesday. So I really feel like this is a critical homestand for Oregon to get a little momentum before going on the road. And Oregon women's basketball, it's safe to say, has been at times, in need of another scorer to step up when Katie Fiso or Mia Jacobs get stopped. But that's because of the command that Mia Jacobs or I should say the attention that Mia Jacobs and Katie Fiso command when they're on the floor. But in this stretch, when those two haven't been scoring at a high clip and at an efficient rate, that's been part of Oregon's struggle, I think, offensively. But you heard Coach Graves yesterday after breaking down that Wisconsin game, talking about how he was disappointed that the Ducks had some opportunities to win that game, and it just didn't come through. They didn't get the critical rebounds. So often you hear coaches say that. It comes down to things like a rebound. It's not always about scoring the basketball at a given time. Maybe it's about maintaining possession at a given time. Anyway, a lot to unpack. Kelly Graves sat down with Chris Clayton this week as we continue our Toyota Coaches Show interviews. Chris Clayton talking with KG.
Fresh off the trip to Iowa and Wisconsin, back here in Eugene. We got out of the hotel in Iowa, and the feels-like temperature was 1 degree. So it's nice to be back home. A little bit
more.
warmer.
Well, it probably could have been 1 degree. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever feels like temperature means. That's what it said.
Yeah, so. No, it was That's the one thing the Big Ten has given us.
Right.
Weather diversity.
Yes.
For sure.
That's right.
It's been so nice here, from what I understand.
Yeah. We missed out.
Yeah.
And coming off the road trip to Iowa, Wisconsin, a couple close and competitive games. Starting with the Wisconsin game, obviously a one that really hurt, a really close game. What stood out to you? What were your big takeaways?
Just, we missed opportunities. We had multiple chances to win the game or to ice the game, and we just didn't, and that's on me. I've got to do a better job. We've won a couple close games, but we've lost now some close ones that could have gone either way. And and it's disappointing. I'm disappointed. I know the team's disappointed. I know our fans are disappointed. All we can do is learn from it and try to get better the next time. And those are the hardest games. As a coach, you remember these ones forever. You forget the wins pretty quickly, but you remember these kind of games forever. And it's just one missed block out there, one missed switch there. A free throw, an open jumper. It just those games come down to one play. One play makes a difference, and and it's too bad. I feel for the team. I know they're really down, and I've had some people ask me about the 3-point, 2-point. I've never been a huge. I guess every situation's different.
In
when
terms
you're up
of fouling.
Yeah. I'm actually one of the few coaches that's lost fouling. We up 3. This is years ago. Up 3. Fouled to make the 2. Make them make the 2, or then or get a rebound, miss one, and they did. They made the first, missed the second on purpose, tipped it out to a 3-pointer, and they hit a 3-pointer, and we lost.
Didn't even tie. Lost.
Oh. So it's probably one of the few coaches that's happened to.
Yeah.
And so that's always stuck in my brain. And the one thing about a 3, and Mark Few is a good friend of mine up at Gonzaga. He feels the same way. You can't lose the game on a 3 when you're up 3.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately they hit 2 miraculous shots, quite frankly. The first one was, at the end of the first overtime was crazy.
Insane. She had 10 threes, and at least half of those were pretty contested.
Yeah. We could have been, I think, a little more assertive. I kept telling the team, we don't care if they get 2. You've got to crowd them. And we were supposed to switch on the one in double overtime. And, we had a lineup where, and they had a lineup where, we're just switching everything. And we failed to switch that one, quite frankly. We were just a little late on it. And it was still a tough shot. You still got to make them.
Right.
We had open 3s at our end, too, that could have iced the game.
Yeah.
Like open 3s. And we didn't make them, And again, I'm not pointing a finger at anybody. I mean, that's what happens in a game when it's close. You look at all the opportunities that you could have had. So I'm sorry for the long answer, but in a nutshell, just disappointment.
Yeah.
Disappointment.
Emotionally, it really hurts. It's agonizing. And you mentioned the team feels a little bit down right now. In the long run, as you start to bounce back, what do you hope is the takeaway for the team?
Well, the thing is, we've got no time to, lick our wounds, so to speak. We got to get right back up on the horse. So today's a day off after a long travel. We're taking today off because we have to. That's an NCAA rule. And we would have anyway because they need the rest, mental and physical. And then we play a good Minnesota team. I think they're 15 or something in the net. And we play them here on Wednesday. So we'll have one day of preparation for them. So it doesn't get easier. That's the thing about this conference. You got to bring it every night, and you can't make excuses.
One thing that stood out about this team this year, especially in Big Ten play, you've been very good in second halves. You have built some first half deficits, but in second half you've really been bouncing back, and you've outscored pretty much everybody. What has come from that? What kind of adjustments have you made, and what does it say about the character to have these strong second halves overall?
It's funny you say that. As a coach, you look at the game film after, and I I don't really detect that we're not playing hard in the first half or we're not as focused. I think by and large we're the same team. I think just sometimes we lock in a little bit more in the second half. We've changed the lineup to start games, and that's 6 1/2 dozen. Hasn't really changed a lot. I think our rotations are fine. We're playing the right kids, the right amount of minutes, I think. I'm not sure. That's the crazy thing. I'm not sure why that happens. But it does seem like second half we lock in a little bit more. We focus. Our practices, you're around the team. The practices are pretty consistent. Yeah, I don't know. Just one of those things. We've got to figure it out, though. We got to win these games. I mean, we're a couple of possessions away from being 5-2 in conference, and working toward a top 16 seed. And right now we're 2-5 in conference and struggling a little bit. So we've got to fix that this week. 2 home games. We've got to take care of business.
You brought up practice, and I wanted to ask you about that. We're kind of into the grind of the season now, in mid-January, some tough games. In terms of your approach to practice and how you structure it, do you keep it a certain formula, or do you like to try and change it up? Maybe if you sense the team is tired or down, or how do you structure them day to day?
Little of both. You saw the 2 days in between the Iowa and the Wisconsin game. The first day we got a lot up and down and got after it a little bit. And then on the day before the game, we had some fun and tried to do some new activities and games. And it just, you've got to play it. You just got to read the team, read the room, so to speak. And if you can tell, a couple of the players, and a couple of our players have logged a lot of minutes, so they need to take a step back in those practices. We can't give them the same amount of reps. So in a lot of ways, you're working the kids that aren't playing as much. It's a fine line, but I've always felt this time of year less is more. When you're on the road and it's cold and the only activity you have is to go back to the hotel, we try to, we might go 2 hours just because, what else are they going to do? Let's get them out of the room. Doesn't mean it has to be a hard 2 hours.
And in general, over the course of your career, you've coached some great players. Is there anything that stands out about some of the great players in terms of their approach to practice every day that really sets them apart?
Yeah, it's listen, and not to rank the players, but 2 of the greatest, 2 that are headed toward the Basketball Hall of Fame are Sabrina and then Courtney Vandersloot. And the thing that they brought every day was they consistently worked hard. Every day, every drill, Sabrina played to win. I didn't care what we were doing. If it was a sprint, and she wasn't our fastest player, but if we had just a sprint, down and back sprint, she would try to win. And they're just wired differently. And some kids, they might have the talent or whatever, they just don't have that drive. There's something missing. And those 2 always had it. I remember when we were at Gonzaga, not to bring Gonzaga stories, I'm the Oregon coach for crying out loud, but we did that during the Sabrina years too, when we were beating people pretty good. On Monday, which is typically a run, lift, shoot day back in the old Pac-12 days, we'd play soccer, we'd play dodgeball, we'd play Nerf gun, those kind of activities. And Sabrina would still play to win.
Right.
It didn't matter what we were doing.
Yeah.
She's going to play to win. And Vandersloot was the same. Exactly the same. She always wanted to be on the winning team.
You got that competitive drive. Talking with Ducks head coach Kelly Graves, you mentioned the getting back on the horse is a phrase you like to use. And the next 3 games, pretty important now. So is that something you stress to the team, the urgency of the next 3? Is that something they should probably know?
Well, they should know. If they're into this, they should know.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't want to put added pressure like, hey, we've got to win this game. We've got to win the next game. I think through your focus, through your film work, through your discussions with the players, I think they get that sense. But I think the more pressure that you put on it as a must-win, I typically don't think that helps. And I would guess, and I think if you would ask most coaches, they would feel the same way. I think players feel better when they're loose and when they just, they feel good, and that added pressure, I think, tightens them up. And then, as you know, it comes down to one play here and there. And so if they're tight on that one play, so it's a fine line. Coaching's difficult, playing's difficult. Again, I know our fans are disappointed and frustrated, and so are we. Because we have a really good basketball team, and we haven't seen the results against some really good teams, yet in conference.
The beauty of the Big Ten, a lot of opportunities for good wins, and that includes Wednesday with Minnesota. They're 16 in the net even after their loss to Washington, and so that would be a quad one victory. What do you know about Minnesota? And again, we're recording this Monday, but what do you know about them right now that's going to be a challenge?
Not a lot.
Okay.
That's the honest truth. We got done with the game late last night. I watched a little film on the way home, but haven't taken a deep dive. That's what today is for. Now, that being said, my staff is on it. I've struggled over the years to go too far down. I think if you do that, you start to lose focus on the next game. And so, today, that's our, it's not our day off. It's the players' day off, right?
Right.
But we're working and formulating game plan, and by and large, that's not going to change. We've just got to, do better, and most of our scouts are personnel driven anyway. So my staff is on it. They'll have a good sense for who Minnesota is, but they're a good team. The one thing I noticed, they have a lot of players. They kind of remind me of Villanova men's basketball a little bit. Not a lot of one-on-one play, a lot of strong players that will back people down, and they're all crafty, but they'll put 5 players on the floor at all times that can score. Now, they only go about 7 deep, but all those 7 can play. They can all have big games. They're all capable of getting 18, 20, 25 points, and so they become a difficult team to defend because you can't play off one player and load up on another. So we're going to have to be on point, and quite frankly, at times we're not good defensively. We have some players that have got to continue to focus a lot more defensively. I was thinking of last year when we were 6-0 in games decided by 1 or 2 points.
Yep.
We defended late in the game. Last night we scored obviously enough to win that game. It was the defense that let us down in the key moments. Those threes. The fouls late, those kind of things, and that, that's, I think, one of the differences.
Yeah, and it's just amazing the margin for error is so slim, just coming down to a few possessions. But what can make a difference is a home crowd. So it'd be nice to get back in front of the fans at MKA 6 p.m. on Wednesday.
Absolutely, and we need them, and it makes a difference. It really does. Basketball's a game of runs, both teams, and we're a team that has gigantic runs on both sides of the ball. The fans can make a huge difference in that. Just a little bit extra adrenaline to make that one stop or get the one rebound. We need them, and we need the team. We've had good support this year, and now the football's over. I think our crowds will get better. They can really focus on basketball, but it's important. And Matthew Knight Arena has been a good arena for us over the years. We've had great success here.
9-2 at home, hoping for more. I know you're in the grit and the grind of the season and travel and everything, so we really appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much.
Oh, my goodness. Gosh, my pleasure. Thanks for doing what you do. You're grinding, too. You're with us every step of the way.
It's true. I don't have as hard of a job, but I'm there. I'm present.
Yeah. Well, let's get a winning streak started. That's all we can ask for, and we're gonna get out there and play really hard for our fans, and that you can always count on our team. They play hard. They really do.
That's true. I've observed that just as Chris is there, right, every game. But I've talked with him about this, and I've watched and listened to so many of the women's games. Like, the effort is there. And now I think it's just refining those key moments where they feel like they let one get away against Wisconsin. Maybe that's the motivation. Maybe you can not just be motivated, but you identify those coachable moments where now you turn around and get a win tonight. That's Kelly Graves breaking down Oregon women's basketball. The Duck basketball head coach brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. 6 o'clock tonight, Minnesota the opponent, 5:30 pregame show from Matthew Knight Arena with Chris Clayton and Bev Smith. Coming up, National Girls and Women in Sports Day is on the horizon. Also, Estera Tuhina from the women's team. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Winter, Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Winter, Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio with you as Oregon women's basketball gets set for a big-time matchup tonight. A good chance to tell you about National Girls and Women in Sports Day, the clinic coming up before the Oregon women's game against Ohio State at Matthew Knight Arena on February 8th. Encourage you to register now at goducks.com/NGWSD. NGWSD for National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Oregon coaches and student athletes will lead activities across multiple sports for kids. It starts at 10:30 in the morning. It's open to children 6th grade and under. A game ticket is required to participate in the camp, but trust me, the tickets are very affordable. You're able to get a ticket to the game and a ticket to this event. There will be activities, posters, prizes. You can sign up and fill out the waiver and purchase tickets ahead of time via goducks.com/NGWSD. You can hang out with select Oregon women's teams, learn more about their sport, learn the important skills of the various sports, celebrating National Girls and Women in Sports Day. goducks.com/NGWSD. I'll tell you, last year in particular, I felt like I heard so many positive reviews of this clinic. I mean, the practice courts at Matthew Knight Arena, I mean, Scott's nodding as I'm saying this. Like, the practice courts at the arena were completely full. 10:30 is when it starts on February 8th. National Girls and Women in Sports Day clinic. Get a chance to talk with a ton of Oregon student athletes, a ton of Oregon coaches, learn about their sports, and you're going to watch a women's basketball game against Ohio State at Matthew Knight Arena as well, celebrating National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Men's basketball last night, a 42-41 game at the 10:42 mark. later on, we'll tell you what happened after it was 42-41 at the 10:42 mark. Also, some Oregon softball news coming your way today, but I'm going to get a break in early because Chris had a great and long conversation with Estera Tuhina. Getting to know one of the newer faces, one of the few new faces for Oregon women's basketball this year. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember, back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this wayward son? I left my heart in
Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack. We're in the Country Financial Studio. Women's basketball in action tonight. And earlier this week, Estera Tuhina sat down with Chris Clayton. Quite the journey for Estera Tuhina, a senior originally from Pristina, Kosovo, and was at Washington State from 22 to 25. Played 3 seasons for the Cougs, appeared in 96 games, 68 starts, was an honorable mention All West Coast Conference player. Last year was a Pac-12 freshman honorable mention, and the Cougs and the Ducks were both in that conference. She was familiar with Oregon, and it was pretty cool. I remember when Kelly Graves recruited Estera Tuhina, and it was like, man, the basketball IQ is just off the charts. Great instincts. I think that's held true. Has become a really vital player for this Oregon women's basketball team as Chris Clayton gets to know Estera Tuhina.
They call you AT. Estera Tuhina is in studio with us. Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Fresh off the trip to Iowa and Wisconsin, what was that experience like playing? First of all, we'll start with the Iowa game in front of a sellout crowd of 15,000 fans. I mean, I know you've played in a lot of big games throughout your career, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool, but obviously a little tough. You know, that energy the crowd gives. It's just you can't really help it. Of course, like the other team scores one basket, it feels like they just scored 30 because the whole crowd is standing up, and I think that's something that we have to like take the ball, take care of it, and calm down and just play our game and not fall for those kind of traps, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the reason I brought that up to start is because you have a level of, just as you said, it feels like you have a level of calmness, a level of composure about you when you're on the court. Do you think, is that just the nature of your personality or your experience? Because you've played in a lot of big games, even going back to Washington State?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. I've always played with older people my whole life. I played with boys. I played with senior national team. I played with first league in Spain. So I think I was just learning, and I was more outside the court. So I think that part of like IQ and like how to organize everything, I think I developed that more being on the bench more rather than on the court. And of course, like that's just how I am too. Like I get the ball, I'm just like that chill player, don't show any emotion. And I know some people like it, some people don't, but that's just who I am, and I'll keep doing that.
No, I think Duck fans love it. I think everybody's really excited to hear. I mean, you were a Pac-12 champion at Washington State. So just going back, what went into the process of why you wanted to be a Duck?
So yeah, I just remember last year when we played here against the Ducks. I remember when we were in the line high-fiving, KG was like, "Oh, are you a junior or senior?" I was like, "I'm a junior." He's like, I get to play you another year." And I was like, "Oh," so it gave me a little bit of confidence. So
That's
entering
nice.
the portal, my mom would always say, probably Oregon is going to text you. So right after I was in the portal, like 30 minutes after, they texted me. And ever since then, I just knew, like, I wanted to come here.
How about that? Accidental tampering, basically,
Yeah.
by KG. It's just a compliment. I'm not saying
Yeah.
you're tampering, but
No.
that's nice that seemed
No,
to
it was
resonate.
really nice. But yeah, obviously in the freshman year, coming here at America, like I had no idea where I was going, no idea, non-conference, conference, Pac-12. I just came with it, came to play, and obviously freshman year we went to the tournament and won it, and I think it's the best experience so far I've had with basketball.
You're from Kosovo, and you played some basketball in Spain as well as a teenager. So what's the experience been like the last few years getting acclimated to life in America?
I mean, it's different, of course, Europe and USA, but it's just I've lived alone ever since I was 13 years old, moved away to Spain. So coming here was just a little further, but it's kind of the same thing. So yeah.
What's Kosovo like?
I mean, it's a pretty small country. People there do play sports, but not as much as here. So just kind of wanted to level up and go somewhere else where I could have more opportunities, I guess.
And you're part of the Kosovo national team. You're the youngest player to ever play on the national team. You did that in 2021. What was that experience like, and what's that like being in the history books forever?
I mean, it feels special, I've always been that one girl that, as I said before, played with older people, and I never really thought I was going to make it to the national team until I did. And first year I was there, didn't really play much, but as I said before, just try to learn from the bench and stuff. Second year, I remember I was 17 years old, and I won the top 5 of the tournament, which was really cool. And obviously coming into college with that confidence was just helped me a lot.
And then you go to Washington State. And earlier this season, the Ducks and you played at Washington State. So what was that emotion like for you being in an Oregon uniform, going back and playing in Pullman?
Yeah, it's something I can't really describe. I felt a lot of emotions at once. Obviously, I wish nothing but best to the team, the coaches, the staff. They've all just been there by my side for 3 years. And I've spoke to the coaches. They know it was a decision for my future. Obviously, the going down from Pac-12 to WCC is what the main reason. Nothing against the team, the program. So yeah, it was just weird, kind of going there, seeing all the fans, all my friends, all the coaches playing against them. It just felt wrong, but I guess that's how it is nowadays, and just gotta go with it.
It's part of the dynamics of college basketball now, the new reality. We're talking with Esther Tuhina of Oregon women's basketball. Let's go back to when you were young. When did you pick up basketball, and when did you realize, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this?
So I was actually ever since I was born, I just had balls in my hands. I wanted to play with something. Like, it was just never dolls, never cars, never video games. I just wanted to go out there and play.
Yeah.
And I would always go out and play with my neighbors, soccer at first, and then my dad, he used to play for fun basketball, and he was like, if you want to play basketball, I can help you. If you want to play soccer, I can't. So I started
He's like, I don't know anything about
yeah,
soccer.
he's like, you do you. And I was like 4.5 years old, 5. I was playing both, but obviously soccer is more physical, and with boys it was just I would get injured, and how it is. And so I decided to play basketball. But back then there was maybe 1 or 2 other girls that played basketball in Kosovo. So I was the only one. I played with boys until I was 13. So then I went to Spain. It was all girls, but so for 8 years of my life I'd just been playing with boys.
And for your family that's still in Kosovo now, what's the time difference like? And do they stay up all night and watch your games at 3, 4 a.m.?
Yeah, I'm actually really grateful. They've never, ever, ever missed a game unless they've been like on a plane or something, which happened once, I think. But yeah, time difference is 9 hours. So I usually get to talk to them till like 1 p.m. our time. But when we play late, they just sleep, wake up, and watch the game.
Yeah.
And they have all set up, VPNs, all that to watch. And my dad has already. So
there you go.
yeah.
I love that. They're committed.
Yes.
And how about the rest of your family? Do you have any other basketball players in your family?
Not really, but they do support. They do watch sometimes. Obviously, they have kids and stuff. They can't really wake up at 3 a.m. and watch it. But whoever, if it's like an early game, like a noon or something, they'll get together and watch it. They send me photos and stuff, and it just feels good.
That's nice. But you did say you have a little sister who plays, right?
Yes.
Yes. She's 18 years old?
She is, yeah.
Is
She plays back home for now, so we'll see.
Yeah.
The future takes her.
We'll see.
She wants to.
That's nice. And I wanted to ask you, got to ask, we talk a lot about your basketball and everything, but part of your identity as a player and as a person has been, even going back to your bios and stuff at Washington State, is your hair. You change your hair, it seems like every year, every month, or I guess, what's the strategy and the thought process on you just changing your hair so often?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I remember, I just never wanted to be the same as other people. So if I saw even my sister wearing the same clothes as me, I was like, no, this cannot happen. So just kind of that mentality of wanting to be different. And, also my mom, if you see her, she has also had colored hair.
Oh, okay.
Ever since, I don't know, I was born probably. And yeah, she was just like, just do whatever. And it was during COVID actually. I was like, I want to shave my head. She's like, go for it. I was like, okay. And so I did. And then at Washington State, I kind of got bored of it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to grow it out because I never had long hair. So I grew it out. And this last summer, I was like, no, I just look the same as everyone else. So I had to make a change.
You make a change. And we just flashed on screen ESPNW, an account with a ton of followers, posted you and showed your latest hairstyle. What was that like, getting so much attention nationally for your hair?
I mean, shoot, I didn't know it had 1 million views, but that is really cool. After the game, obviously after it won too, looked at the social media, and I saw that. I think my mom sent it to me, and it just felt special.
That's cool. What was the thought behind this one? How did you come up with this idea? The hand
Well, I knew I wanted to do something, and I just entered Pinterest, and we were looking through it. I was like, oh, I like that one. Let's do it. Yeah.
I love it. Do you have plans for what's next?
Not yet.
It's going to be a surprise.
But it has to be soon.
That's right.
We'll see.
You can feel the itch.
Yes.
Maybe something new. I love it. Well, looking forward now as the season progresses, you and the team are going through a little losing streak right now, but where for you personally do you want to see growth and improvement from you to have a great rest of your senior season?
I mean, yeah, we are a great team. We showed that we're capable of winning every game. It's just we've let those games slip at the end. But I think it also comes to we're a pretty young team, I guess, and they didn't really have a tough non-conference schedule, so we're kind of just now getting used to. But what is important is from now on, winning those games if we want to make it to March, and then obviously in March, just one game at a time.
And you, as well as anyone, have so much experience in March, winning a Pac-12 championship with Washington State and everything. What do you think that wisdom and all this experience does for you to help you in these big moments, in these big games?
Yeah, obviously it's been tough a little bit. Going to a new team, you got to re-earn all the trust that you had for 3 years. You got to play with confidence, something that, it's not always easy. But, I mean, yeah, the coaches know, at late games, they always put me on the inbounds plays to, take the ball out and stuff, so... Yeah.
And in three-point shooting, you're about 40% on the year. You're, especially lately, really shooting the ball well. How do you feel like you've developed your three-point shot? I mean, even go back to your sophomore year, you shot 43% from three. But where does that come from, and how did you perfect that outside shot?
Yeah, I think, as I said, it's all confidence. It's all mental. You got to know the work you put in and just go out there and show it. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you work out outside. games. You got to show up in games, and I think that's just the mentality, like going the game knowing that I want to be aggressive today, I want to score today, I want to find my other teammates if I have two people on me, and just got to go with that.
Well, I think Duck fans are all happy you had that nice little exchange with Kelly Graves in the handshake line, and you ended up a Duck.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming
Thank
in.
you.
And looking forward to more.
Thank you so much.
AT, as they call her. I thought that was great. Just hearing from a lot of history to unpack. I know a lot of people have asked about the hair and the identity. I'm glad that Chris asked that, because I got to tell you that the handprint was just awesome. It was so cool. Like, every one of us, I think, was like, oh, that's well done. Estera Tuhina. Coming up, we're going to talk men's basketball, women's basketball in action tonight. The men played yesterday. We'll break it down on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone or just taking a deep, calming breath to ground yourself. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studios. I mentioned earlier, men's basketball last night. A 42-41 score at the 10:42 mark. In the Nebraska game, I was talking about how it was 28-28 with about 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. In the Michigan game, it's a tie ball game before Michigan ends up pulling away. That's kind of been a theme, unfortunately, for Oregon men's basketball over the last week and a half. So more good things in this game, just like that Michigan game, just like the Nebraska game. Three top 10 teams that the Ducks were squaring off against. They were in the games. But now a short rotation, and the margin for error as a result is just so small. Michigan State ended up outscoring Oregon 26-11 over the final 9 minutes of the contest. Ducks had 3 turnovers, missed 4 critical free throws, and that really got the Spartans going. You could feel them loosen up, it seemed like, offensively. Michigan State ends up winning 68-52 last night. Coach Altman said that the game is so fragile after it was 28-28 at Nebraska, and then Oregon turns it over. Nebraska hits a 3, makes it 31-28. Nebraska goes on a run into the locker room. Oddly, the run ended up being 14-2. Michigan State just last night at one point went on a 14-2 run during that final 9 minutes. That seems to be the one unfortunate glaring theme for Oregon over the last couple weeks. There's one fragile moment in a game that can turn it. And that's where the margin for error becomes so difficult, because when Oregon's in these games with their short rotation due to Jackson Shellstad and Nate Biddle being injured for the long haul, it looks like, it can change quickly. I thought, though, that this was an interesting game for a lot of reasons, because Oregon did find something with the rotation in the backcourt. Drew Carter was able to stabilize things for the Ducks at times. We've seen now Sean Stewart against Michigan a career high in points. We've seen Takai Simpkins can still be really solid for Oregon. He led Oregon in scoring last night. But again, that margin for error just real small. And that's the first thing that Coach Altman mentioned when I chatted with him post-game last night. Well, Coach, just looking through the box score, what sticks out to you from this one here tonight?
Well, our margin for error is so small. And, we have a 3-point lead there, and then TK turns it over twice, and Wade turns it over. We missed 4 critical free throws just to stay in the game, keep the pressure on them. And, once they got up 10, then they're playing loose and free. We had to keep the pressure on them. And, again, those critical turnovers and critical missed free throws, just didn't allow us to stay right there even and keep the pressure on them. And you could tell when they freed up there, they scored basket. They shot the ball 68% second half, after they freed up. But, again, our margin for error is not very big, and we can't miss 4 critical free throws by our 2 best free throw shooters, KJ and TK. And then, like I said, the 3 turnovers in a row with the 3-point lead, just bad decisions.
Well, those coachable moments. How about the first half, though, Coach? I mean, you gave them everything that they needed in there in the first half.
No. I mean, the first 28, 30 minutes, we had ourselves in a great position. But, like I said, critical offensive mistakes, and then defensively, our activity went way down. It wasn't the same as it was the first half. Our talk, just wasn't the same.
Washington next.
Yeah, no, it'll be a tough road trip. We're going to have to keep grinding, try to get better, have better decisions, and we got to cut down mistakes. It's that simple. We're making too many mistakes for the personnel we have right now to overcome.
All right, Coach, here's to cutting down those mistakes. Thanks for the time.
All right, thanks.
I think puts it in perspective, though, right? Like the margin for error is small. And then here's where it started to just get so like at one point in the game, KJ Evans gets bonked in the eye. Another point, Ezekiel Demir goes down holding his shoulder. They both end up coming back to the bench, but they were both evaluated by the medical staff post-game after sitting out the last few minutes. Sophomore Jamari Phillips was suspended for Tuesday's game. Altman said Saturday that Phillips had been late to pregame shoot-around that morning. Just would have been nice for another depth guy to be there. And then, one piece of good news, though, freshman F.A. Vatan was in uniform, is cleared to play after missing the first half of the season due to injury. Maybe some good news with F.A. potentially joining the rotation as he gets up to speed. He was in uniform for the game last night. Continuing, though, Coach Altman sitting at the podium. His thoughts after the loss to Michigan State. Get ready now for Washington this weekend.
First 30 minutes, it was back and forth really close, and then they pulled away.
Our margin for error is small, and we're up 3, and we turned the ball over 3 times in a row. We have an opportunity to stay right with them. We missed 4 free throws out of 5, 2 best free throw shooters. So our margin for error is small, and we can't make those mistakes. And we did. And as soon as they got a lead, they freed up and, started moving the ball and shot it much better. But we needed to keep the pressure on them by keeping the score close. And obviously when they got, to 10 points, they just freed up and hit everything. So, again, lack of discipline, poorly coached team. I mean, we had it where we wanted it. And, again, you can't turn the ball over 3 possessions in a row. And when you're, missing a couple guys that can really score, you got to get every point you can. You can't miss those 4 free throws. We had a chance to be tied right there instead of down 4. And that was a big series.
I know Takai had a couple of those late turnovers that you're probably talking about, but he also seemed like a guy that was just like trying to do everything. Do you want him in that playmaker role, or was he trying too much?
No, he had the 2 critical ones right there, and he threw to KJ. I mean, it was just bad play. All three of his turnovers were bad decisions, bad decisions. Yeah, we're putting a lot of pressure on those guys to handle the ball because Jackson would be our primary ball handler, but he's not here. So those two guys got to handle a lot more. Drew did a good job. Drew, late there, he had a bad turnover, but, he tried to handle it.
What's the challenge of balancing the, good with the bad for Way? Obviously, you took him out after the turnover, but, the opportunity to have a guy like that on the floor who might be able to make plays for you,
Well, he's, he can, but, defensively, he's got a long way to go. No, he didn't get any rebounds. Drew went back in there and got a couple rebounds. Our guards got a rebound with this team, and, he got no rebounds in 23 and a half minutes. Again, 3 turnovers, 1 assist. So you just got to make better decisions, and defensively, he's got to make some progress. He's not doing a good job defensively, and he's just got to get better.
Defensively, how much emphasis before this game did you put on stopping Michigan State's transition offense?
A lot. They got some early. I thought we did a better job as the game went on, getting back and putting it together. But they push it hard every time. Fears is really good in transition. So we just, again, didn't get back and put it together a few times, and that, 10 points off fast break, so made a difference.
Coach, staying on that defensive point, that wrinkle of that 2-3 matchup zone, how effective was that? Because Michigan State hasn't been held under 30 since Nebraska and Duke. Do you think that was a product of the zone or just the tenacity of your guys' defense? Well,
I thought our activity the first half was really good. We had the tempo kind of where we wanted it. We knew we couldn't run with them. So we had the tempo where we wanted. Our activity was good. That defense gets down on the other end. We got to get connected better. We made a lot of mistakes defensively that second half, and they took advantage of all of them.
KJ and Ezekiel both out the last 5 minutes. Do you have any sort of update on them?
They'll be checked. Big E, his shoulder, so they're checking him now. KJ got hit in the face, so they're checking him. So we'll have to see what the results of those are.
And if it was off the availability list for the first time this
Yeah,
year?
no, he's ready to go. We'll try to get him acclimated, get him in there a little bit.
Jamar?
Was suspended for tonight. He'll be back with the team Thursday.
Dan Altman with a lot of updates. Yeah, when it rains, it pours, seems like sometimes. When you get those injuries, and it does just start to pile up. But the margin for error is small. Play a little more routine and consistent. I think Oregon's going to surprise some people here. Take a break, come back. I want to let you hear a little bit of what the opposing coach said about Oregon's situation. Tom Izzo with his thoughts on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, nonprofit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working at our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I left my heart in Oregon. Oh, I left my heart in Oregon. Yeah, I left my heart in Oregon.
Doug Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. I said it earlier, 2 Hall of Fame head coaches on the court last night. And Tom Izzo, his opening press conference, just listen to this. I think it puts in perspective what Oregon's going through.
Well, I don't know how to start out a press conference that I'm not real happy with, except to say, as unhappy as I am, I can't believe what they're going through. I'm sitting on the bench before the game, and there's like 36 points of 2 players sitting next to me, and I just feel sorry for them. And that's a lot to try to overcome. And I thought those guys played their tail off. They mixed and matched that zone. It gave us problems. We started out really well. We ran the ball. We were up 11-4, and then just wasn't happy with my leadership. I wasn't happy with my quarterback play. I wasn't happy with the ball movement offensively. Defensively, we were pretty good. I don't know, what do we end up holding them to? They shot 39, 35. But we didn't get enough shots up because we had too many turnovers. We didn't do a very good job of stepping up on ball screens that we had worked hard on. We looked like a team that I didn't think we looked tired. I think we looked out of sync and not knowing what we were doing offensively, and it carried over to the defense. On the same side, I thought they played hard, and they played well, meaning Oregon. I thought they, going through what he's going through is not easy. And if I took out my 2 best, not only my 2 best players, but my 2 most leading scorers, and those guys were good. And I thought they bounced back and played really well against Michigan. I thought they played really well against us. So we got a lot of work to do, and but you go on this road trip, it's not easy. As we all know, college guys aren't ready to handle it like pro guys.
Thought that was an interesting perspective from Tom Izzo. The travel's hard, as he alluded to, but also when you lose those 2 guys, Jackson Shellstad and Nate Biddle, even opposing coaches saying, boy, that's a tough deal. And it is. We all know it. Coming up tomorrow, Taylor Susnaro, Oregon Acrobatics tumbling head coach, going to join us. Big news week for them. See you tomorrow.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing.